Hello everybody, my name is Coolboot. I'm bringing out this video of me playing a board game or talking about a board game, reviewing a board game, and I am going to be talking about here Cassette Dungeon. This is going to be, or Cassette Dungeons with an S. This is going to be a part of the Small Box Big Game series, and this is going to be a game in that series. So I'm happy to be doing more Small Box Big Games. I can't tell you how happy I am about that because the series was falling behind, and here I am doing more. Sorry, you guys don't come here to hear me ramble. You came here to hear me talk and review this game. So let me go ahead and get our music going. I'm going to use exploration music, moody music in the background. And we're going to go ahead and switch over to our other camera here, and I'll zoom out a little bit more. Wrong camera. Man, always hit the wrong camera button. There we go. So we have here just kind of set before us our play area. And this game is just a deck of cards. It has a deck of cards with different backs here. And, oh no. All right, well, that failed miserably. There we go, much better. And of these decks, you have your traps, you have your treasures, you have your item/monster cards, you have your characters that you'll actually be playing, and then you have your boss monsters, which I put mine in different sleeves. You can see here they're what's the word I'm looking for, glossy on this side and matte on that side. And then you also have a health tracker that comes with the game. And you have these three different double-sided path markers, or path maps, that show you which monsters to summon. Oh, and you also get this little standee, this little flat mini standee, which I thought was pretty neat, because it also comes with a little base, and I think it's very tiny, and it fits very well. I didn't use it here for my playthrough because I was doing the top-down view. So, also you get these 4 dice. So as far as this game goes, so this game is played in a way, just to go over the rules here. This game is played where essentially I'm running through the dungeon, I'm running through different floors, you know, a la Slay the Spire style, and I'm going through this little map. And every time I go to a different spot, I face the challenge here. Once I defeat the challenge, if I defeat the challenge, I move on to the next floor. So in this case, I get a choice to either go up here or down there. And oh yeah, I can zoom in more. It's fine. My zoom failed me. That's not the first time Zoom failed me. Haha, I'll talk about the video chat software. There we go. And we'll save that as number 2. There we go. So, as I was saying before, the paths, we follow different paths. And as you can see here, when I land on this path, or when I go into this path, I'll fight one monster. Once I defeat the monster through multiple rounds, then I'll be able to move to the next path. The next path, I'll face 2 monsters and 2 traps, which is kind of dangerous. Then if I survive that, I get to go over here and fight 2 monsters and get 1 treasure. And then after that, I get to go down here and move on, so on and so forth. And you can kind of see here the arrows kind of point off the map. That's mostly because you can decide to connect your maps. You can decide to connect your maps like this if you want to, which is what I did in my playthrough, where essentially I did a run of going through 3 different maps. And if I made it to the end, victorious. If I didn't make it to the end, I lost and failed. I'll let you guys go watch the video, see how I did. But yeah, this game is pretty quick and straightforward. So much so that I'm gonna do most of a playthrough here in my little review here. So continuing on with things, we're gonna do setup. We're gonna shuffle all of the trap cards, all 4 of them, and I'm gonna put those over here. We're gonna shuffle all the treasure cards, and I'm gonna shuffle those and put those over here. Then I'm going to shuffle all the monster/item cards. And note that if you have the game, the rulebook says that the boss monster cards are supposed to be double-sided. They are not. They were single-sided with their own back. So I put mine in different sleeves. But just be sure to fish out the boss cards. The boss cards, if you're looking for which ones are those, they're the ones with this little symbol here at the top, this little blue menacing little mask with horns. Just make sure you separate those, because those are the bosses, and those need to be separated. So I'm going to put the separate bosses, shuffle those up, put them over here. Then I'm going to take the normal monsters, though, and we'll shuffle those too, and then put those in their own pile here. And then finally, I'm going to randomly choose which hero. There are 6 different heroes, and I guess I'm playing the Rage Mage. You have your health track here. I'm going to go ahead and use it here for the demo, and I take my cube that I get and I'll put it here on 11, so I start with 11 health. And as I did in my playthrough, I'm going to go ahead and use the maps, and I was going to do the 3-map mode here. There's nothing saying that you have to stop. The rulebook says you can keep going if you want to, but you don't have to keep going. I'm going to choose to keep going. And actually, I take it back. I'm going to use my counter instead of using the card. The card is fine. It's just I have a counter, save space. So I'll use it to save space. Okay, So that is all settled. So now we're going to go into our first space. So the first thing we'll do is we go through 4 different phases for each kind of cycle, each kind of turn. We're going to start on phase 4, which is once the room is cleared, we discard all traps that are there. We collect all of our loot, if there's any loot, and then we proceed to the next room. And then as a part of step 4, if the room gives us a treasure or if the room gives us some extra health, we get to heal and gain that treasure now. And then afterwards, we summon everything in the room. Which in this case is just going to be 2 monsters and 1 trap. So, I'll put my Rage Mage face over there. And I'm going to go ahead and summon the 2 monsters. So these are the monster cards. That's rough. And we get a trap. And you'll notice that there's a few different pieces of information on these cards. So we're going to go ahead and talk about those. So this is the anatomy of a monster card. It's going to have a few different symbols here. So if we zoom in a little bit more, it's going to have a few different symbols here above these boxes. And it's going to have these boxes with a plus on them. This essentially means that I need to put a die of 4 or higher to cover this box. I need to put a die of 3 or higher to cover this one, and 2 or higher to cover that one. If I do not cover this box or this box, either of these boxes, I will be summoning another monster from the summoner, which makes sense. For the troll, if I do not cover this box, I'll lose 2 health. If I do not cover this box, I'll lose 1 of my items that I have, which I currently have none, so this is not that big of a consequence right now. So that is how that works. In addition to that, we have a trap. The trap will have some kind of effect on the room, and for me, the trap here is grasping hands. So it says you may use only 1 item in this room. So that trap doesn't really bother me because I have no items. So perfect. Off to a good start. So we're going to go ahead and start. Speaking of starting, and first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to choose how many dice I want to roll. So I have all these dice. I cannot place them as they are. It'll be great to place these right now, but I can't. I must basically choose which dice I want to place, and then pull them from where they are, and then roll them. So what that means is that if I had some dice that were already covering some spots already, and I wanted to just roll them again, I could take them and pull them from here, and then roll them again. So basically, before I place any dice, I have to roll. So I'm going to go ahead and roll, and this is my initial roll. Not the strongest of rolls, but I've seen definitely worse, for sure. So I have abilities that I can use too by putting a dice on those and then immediately use the ability. But I need a 4 or higher to use those, and that's not really worth it. So I'm going to put this over here to block that. I'm going to put this here to block that. And I'm going to end there. So now I've done that, I'm going to deal with the consequences after I'm done placing. The consequences here is I'm going to lose an item. I have no item to lose, so nothing happens. And then we're going to summon another monster, which is not great. So we summon another monster. So now this monster will be active next time, but not right now. Alright. Actually, let me take it back. The rules don't say if I need to face the consequences on this guy that just got summoned. So I'm going to assume that I don't until next round, but that's just me. So go ahead and check Board Game Geek forums. I think they're somewhat active on there, the designers of this one. So go check there and see if there might have been clarified. Continuing on though, I'm at the part 3, which is where I gain any loot. So each defeated monster gives me a loot, and defeated is a monster is considered defeated if all of its boxes are covered. So currently there's no defeated monsters, but if there were defeated, I would get the loot, and the loot at the bottom here, there'll be the item, the text you see at the bottom, so the monster becomes an item. So I do not get any of these because I haven't defeated any. So now we're done. Then we do the proceed. So if there's no more monsters here, then I get to move to the next room and gain all the stuff. But there are monsters here, so I'm not done yet. So I'm back in the room. All right, so now we're at the top of the round 1. I'm going to roll. That was a 3. And this is great. So I'm going to put this here to block that. I'm going to put this here to block that. And I'm going to be done placing. So now this monster is going to hit me for 1. So I go from 11 to 10 health. Okay. And now that I'm down that health, we check for kills. I have killed this guy. So the troll becomes an item now. So I'll put him over here. And that item is going to be the big horn. All dice on 3s or 4s become 5s if I use that item. So that's pretty nice. And I get these 2 dice back essentially. And that's it. So now we go to the next round. I'm going to roll. And good. I am going to be able to block their damage and then do that to kill that guy. So now this one is dead. And this trap is still in effect. I can only use 1 item, but I haven't used any yet, and I don't think I will. So we're all done, and this one's not hitting me anymore because you notice that his damage box is covered. So because there's only 1 monster, there's no possible way for them to damage me. I'm just going to speed run this and just say, okay, I placed the correct die, he's now dead. So I just do that because otherwise I'll just be here rolling until I get a 5, and that'll be really annoying. So now that we're done with that, we're going to go for 4. We're going to clear all traps and put them back. The game does not say if you put these in a discard, you have to shuffle them in. I've been playing it as I just shuffle this back in because there's only 4 traps total. I guess it's better to run through each trap individually, but for right now, I'm just doing it this way because living life on the edge. And then I get to proceed to the next room, which for me is going to be giving me a single monster. A violent orc. So, I'm going to roll. And, oh, that's a terrible roll. Alright, what items do I have? Ignore all effects on a monster this turn. Reroll all dice on 3s or 4s. And then all dice on 3s or 4s become a 5. These are all bad. So, I think I'm playing this one to ignore all effects on one monster this turn. So we're going to apply it to this monster here. So I'm not going to face any damage. And I'm going to put this one. And then we're going to end our turn. So now we're going to roll for our next round. Okay, much better. So we take this and we take that. And now he's defeated. So we wipe him out. And he's a reroll 1 die or gain 1 health. So I got this many items. Now, I didn't say this before, but it's very important to note that I can only hold 4 items total, and that's between items and treasures. So I can have 4 treasures, I can have 4 items, or I can have 2 treasures and 2 treasures and 2 items. I can have 3 treasures and 1 item, any combination. If at any time I have more treasures or items than I am allowed to have, I must immediately discard without using any abilities. So that means that if I'm to get a 5th item, for instance, I can't say, okay, let me quickly use this before I use that. No, it's too late at that point. Again, the game is not super mechanically involved, so it's a fair system to do it that way, to do it more strictly. So I'm okay with that. All right. So now I get to choose my path. I can either go down here and fight a boss, 2 monsters, and a chest, or I can fight a boss, 1 or 2 traps, and a chest. So I think I'm going to go for... Then we go for the boss, 2 traps, and a chest. So first thing I do is I gain the chest, and it's going to be the Holy Sword. Now this one says each dice you roll this turn is increased by 1. Cool. And then I draw 2 traps. So for these traps, I can discard my treasure to discard the trap or deal with the effects. So this one says you may only use 1 item in this room. This one says you must roll all 4 dice at the start of each turn in this room. So I think... I think for this one, because I'm about to do a boss, I'm going to go ahead and spin this to clear that. Now, there's nothing in the rulebook that says that I must see or I must interact with these first before I see the boss. So I can very much see the boss, but I just want to make it more challenging for myself, which is the thing I'll talk about in my review. But we're going to go ahead and discard this one and keep this one in place so I can only use 1 item. And now the boss is out, and it is an infant dragon. So let's get our first roll and see how we do. Alright, looks like we wiped him out. Nope, not yet. Nope, we almost wiped him out in 1 turn. Now, I will say this is another tidbit, so I wanted to make the game more challenging for myself, and again, I'll talk about my review, because I'm once I get done with this particular round. But this here, the rulebook says that you only deal with the consequences right above the box, so just to give us a quick zoom in here, you see here that there's a loss of health right above this box, but there's not one above this box. The way that I played it, which made it exponentially more challenging and a lot harder of a decision to make, is that both of these boxes will count towards this 1 column. Again, the rulebook doesn't specify on that. Let me double check here. Sorry, there's here's the rule sheet that I printed out here, because you do have to print it out yourself, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. I don't think it really goes into detail on that, but the way that I've been playing it has been that you have to cover both of those to deal with that. And I mean, it just makes it a little bit more challenging, makes it a little bit more annoying too, to kind of fight bosses. But I think it kind of adds just enough little edge to kind of keep me as interested as I want to be in the game. So we're going to do that, which means that I'm still going to be losing a health. So I will lose a health. So I go from 10 to 9. And then we're on to another round. Actually, hold on, before we do that. Oh, no, you know what? I'm not losing a health. I'm going to go ahead and spin an item. So I'm back at 10, and I'm going to spin this item, which is all dice on 3s or 4s become 5s. So get those all to 5s. So we defeat the dragon in one go. I'll take it. So Infant Dragon is now dead. We defeated him, and that's it. So I would continue on as much as I want to. Again, these are double-sided, so nothing stopping me from just flipping this over and putting it at the very end to kind of continue going. And there's 6 different bosses to fight, but that is essentially the flow of a game. You just kind of keep going forever, or you can stop after one run. You can do multiple runs. You can try out different characters, and so on and so forth. Speaking of different characters, here's some of the other characters. Some are objectively stronger than others. I mean, I just think that personally that's what it is. I guess it just depends on your playstyle. But some of these characters, some of these people you can be have rerolls. Some of them have the ability to kind of manipulate the monsters to kind of swap out, like replace this monster with another monster. Some have ability to kind of use items multiple times, and it's a nice diversity of abilities. So I do appreciate it, and also gives like different values for, I guess, more powerful abilities. So clearly this ability is a lot weaker than this ability to reroll all your dice. So that makes sense. And that's kind of all the game has to offer. So that's it. So as far as a review on things that I like, things that I didn't like, and then my rating afterwards. So as far as things that I liked, I do appreciate that this game is pretty short and pretty quick and pretty swift. It is kind of just a dice chucker. Just kind of chuck your dice, see where they land, and then kind of put them on things and assign them different places. So, I mean, it's a very basic loop, and it's a loop that I think is not overly complex, which I appreciate. So I think normally in some other games I want a little bit more teeth, a little bit more bite into. I would expect more and want more. But I will say that the simplicity of the system is a boon for me in this game, especially considering that some of the other games that I've been playing recently, not on purpose, but just coincidentally playing some other games like Die in a Dungeon specifically, which I have pretty high praises for that one. But I don't need this game to be Die in a Dungeon. I have Die in a Dungeon to play Die in a Dungeon. This game is very simple, straightforward, hits a specific niche, and I think it benefits from me also playing Die in a Dungeon at the same time. So what I'm saying is that this is a simple loop. You're not going to get a lot of depth here. It is very straightforward, and I actually see that as a plus. Another thing too is that the rules are pretty simple. I don't want to say they're straightforward. They're pretty simple. Like there's some ambiguousness that exists where the Board Game Geek forums can come in. You can kind of get your answers from there, or make up your own rules, interpret them yourself. Because the game, again, it's not that deep. Like you saw me, I just kind of interpret this as for the boss is like I have to get both, and I just made it much harder. Whereas if I didn't, then it'll just be pretty easy to just auto-complete that later. But ultimately, the game is pretty rules light, and it is a reasonable loop, and the game doesn't last that long. You can even extend the game if you wanted to play more. You can even, well, this is a solo game, but nothing's stopping you from getting another set of 4 dice, and then maybe just doubling everything and see how it goes with friends. I just think it's overall a really cool and neat idea. The artwork, I think the artwork is I appreciate it. Again, the gameplay loop is simple, straightforward, basic. I would normally give that a knock, but I think for what it's offering and what it is, I think it's pretty good. Now, on to the things that I don't like. I don't like the rules ambiguity. So I know I was just kind of giving it praise about how the game is pretty rules simple and rules straightforward, but I feel like at a certain point, I feel like this feels like some things weren't thought about to write out in the rules. I mean, the rule sheet is literally just its own little PDF of 3 pages. And again, that's fine. You can have a very rich and deep game explained in a few pages, and I'm not saying that the page count is a problem. What I am saying though is that some of the things that should be maybe considered or specified, those things should be talked about. Like for instance, the boss cards in the rule sheet, there's a little bit of inconsistency where the rule sheet said that those are supposed to be double-sided, but those are actually not double-sided, and I'll actually show you exactly what I'm referring to. From my understanding, this is a current rule sheet. I don't know if there's an updated version, but it says right here 3 dual-sided dungeon maps. 3 dual-sided boss cards, and clearly these boss cards are not double-sided. And actually, some people were confused, and they mentioned in the forums because these have the same backs as normal monsters. And again, I put mine in different sleeves to kind of make them more differential, or to differentiate them easier visually. But clearly these are the same backs, so it's like, do I shuffle the bosses in there and fight them? Because if you do, that makes it kind of hard. And that could be pretty rough. You can have a pretty rough run just because of some unclear rules or unspecific rules. So I see that as a problem of like just kind of how things are talked about, and you know, some tiny niche interactions, I get it. Those might not be talked about. But things like you only have 4 trap cards. Should I shuffle every time? Should I not shuffle every time? Again, the rules don't say you have to shuffle every time. They also don't say you don't have to shuffle every time. So which one do I do? So those rules ambiguities kind of hurt the game quite a bit, in my opinion, especially for a game that's as simple and straightforward and as a small loop of a game that this is. Again, you can literally just play this by doing just 1, 2, 3 rooms and then put the game away, and that's it. That's the entire experience you got. You got to see some cool monsters, you got to roll some dice, you got to use an ability or two, and you had a little fun there. But I do think that that's kind of one of the problematic things. Another thing that I put as a con, which again this is self-solvable, because in the rulebook it says beating the dungeon, proceed from the boss room to win. However, you may feel compelled to record more victories. If your health drops below 1, you die and the game is over. That's kind of all it says. So the implication is that all you got to do is kill 1 boss and that's it. But there's 6 bosses and there's 6 different paths. So in my opinion, if you play a full game, you're going through all 6 paths, you're fighting all 6 bosses. So the question is, can you survive all 3? And I'll make the argument that I'm not going to spoil the gameplay that I had, and also, well, I guess I could spoil the gameplays I didn't record. I will say that I originally I was like, man, this game is so easy and straightforward. And then I played a game right afterwards, so I just got like wiped out in the first round because the dice weren't dicing, the monsters were hitting pretty hard. I just couldn't get anything to just kind of get where I needed to. So this game can have swings between playthroughs, and I see that as a negative because it means that there's a little bit of a consistency issue. Maybe there's a little bit of a ramp issue, to where sometimes you can start with a fairly easy walk in the park, and then you can just end up with just the hardest fight you've ever seen in your entire career. And that's all based on how the dice are rolling, because this game is very much based on how your dice roll. Yes, you do have some manipulation on the dice on your character cards, but for instance, if you have, let's use, I guess the Rage Mage is probably the hardest to use. You have a Rage Mage, they let you re-roll 1 die. That's fine, but you got to spend a 4 to do it. Whereas if you look at everybody else, they kind of have more balanced things. So I guess maybe this is a problem unique to the Rage Mage, to be honest. I guess the Intoxicaster might have an issue with it too. But everybody else has an ability for 1, and these 2 don't. They have abilities that are 2 or higher. So if you roll, very unlucky, let's say I'm fighting the dragon. Let's say I'm fighting the Infant Dragon, and I rolled this, and I want to do something to kind of maybe give myself another roll here, and I'm playing the Rage Mage, I'm playing the Rage Mage, then I can do, following the rules that I played by, I can do this to block that 1 damage, and then take this damage, and then lose an item, but I can't do anything with these dice, so I gotta roll again. And then if I roll again, let's say I rolled 2 2s, or a 3 and a 2. Well, I can place a 3, but I still gotta worry about this one, so I take another hit. So you just slowly get chipped away in a way that's not very satisfying, because I can't do anything to control that, because 1, my abilities are too high of a cost, because at the point I can use this, I might as well, just put it over here on the enemy. And on the other hand, I'm just kind of waiting and just slowly getting whittled away, because I can't do anything to manipulate the dice. I have no items, I have no abilities, and yeah, one can make an argument that I should just strategically use my items to make sure I don't end up in that situation, but it's kind of random about which items you get. It just depends on which enemies come out, which ones you defeated previously, and what order they came out in. So it ends up being a situation to where there is a little bit too much random for a game. Dare I say too much random? I think this game has a correct amount of random. I just want to be clear, but I'm just trying to say that it can be very swingy from game to game, and that can be off-putting. So I put that as a con. That the consistency between playthrough to playthrough, that can be very rough. It's really just literally the luck of dice. If you roll really well, you're gonna have a great time. If you roll really badly, it's gonna be a miserable experience, a slog through the dungeon. Especially if you get a jerk that's gonna be summoning other monsters. That's rough. Let me see. Yeah, this guy can summon other monsters. So if you can't cover that box, and he's bringing out other monsters that keep punching you, and you gotta put more boxes down, taking more damage, that can just spiral out of control. But luckily there's only a few of those. I think, oh yeah, these 3. Are these the only 3? No, they can't be. Well, I guess it can be. Those are the only 3. Yeah, these jerks. The Summoner summons other monsters, the Lich summons other monsters, and the Ogre summons other monsters. And those boxes are, they can be a beast to deal with for sure. So that goes along with to say that, yeah, things that summon other monsters, that can be rough, and I think that mechanic itself is hogwash. That's just me. maybe I had a few games that might have gone badly just because of that one ability. I don't know. You never know. Anyway, so how do I feel about this game rating wise? I think if I'm going out of a 10, I think this game on Board Game Geek has like a 5.7 out of 10. I can actually check it. I don't know. I'm guessing. Let me scroll up. Oh nope, that was different game. So Cassette Dungeon on Board Game Geek I think has a 5.7, and I think for me, 5.8. Okay, cool, sure. I think I agree with that rating. I'm mostly saying that because I was thinking about where do I feel about this game. I feel like it has its highs and its lows, but its lows kind of bring it down, and the rules ambiguity brings it down too. I think one of the biggest detriments to this game is that the rules can be a little bit ambiguous, and also in addition to that, there can be situations where you just can't do anything but just hope that the dice don't screw you over. And sure, that can be said about a lot of other games, about you just roll dice and see if you win or lose, but it doesn't always feel great to just live or die by a single dice roll. I guess it's kind of the whole point of here for Cassette Dungeons is you're in a dungeon in a cassette case and you may die. So you're not guaranteed to win. You can get grinded down, and it's supposed to be a short solo game. So you never know. I mean, again, I don't want to be too harsh on it because I think that this game fits into a niche that like a quick put on the table, put your cards out, roll your dice, have your experience, and then put it away. Fits into that niche very well. But I do think my rating, I would go as high as a 6 out of 10. But I think 5.8 is an accurate rating for this game. That doesn't mean it's bad. I just mean that it just doesn't don't expect this to replace like Gloomhaven Buttons and Bugs, because Gloomhaven Buttons and Bugs is like miles and miles, in levels of complexity and levels of like adventure and just mystery and everything, compared to something like this. This one's definitely not a competitor for that. I would even go so far as to say something like Die in the Dungeon is a great game to pair this with, because Die in the Dungeon is a longer experience overall. You can do, from session to session, you can do multiple sessions in Die in a Dungeon, and I'm doing a playthrough series on that one as well, on the Small Box Big Game series, so you see this Cassette Dungeon blended in the middle of that, this playthrough in the review. But the whole point I'm trying to bring up is that me playing this at the same time of me playing this has been good for this, because if I just play this before, if I just play this by itself without any other context, I would feel very disappointed in the experience that I had. I'm like, I want more. I want more dungeon, I want more uniqueness, I want more changes. Whereas Die in the Dungeon, I keep bringing that one up because that one is filling that niche of like giving me more to crunch into, giving more to bite into. So much so that I have multiple videos of multiple hours playing through that one already here on the series. And I think this one fits perfectly into that. Okay, I just want to quickly get into a dungeon, get in, get out, do like maybe 2 cards, see if I can beat both bosses, and boom, I'm good. So take that how you will. I think that this game pairs well with other games that are longer, is what I'm trying to say. I do think that this is a nice idea of like a little pocket dungeon type thing, and I would be interested to see if that maybe if somebody could come up with some additional like rules or challenges, maybe make it a 2-player dungeon. That would be pretty cool, to where somebody else has their own 4 set of dice and you're fighting your own 2 things, kind of running in the map together. That could be cool. There's a lot of potential. I mean, you have 6 different people here, so you can clearly just add 4 more dice and just play with 2 players. Nothing's stopping you. You just have to kind of make your own rules about how many enemies show up. But yeah, that's just ultimately I'm pretty positive on the game. I just think that just a little bit of cleaning up on the rules, maybe adding a little bit more clarity on things instead of cleaning up on the rules can help out a lot. And also, I would like to see maybe a few more maps. I mean, honestly, how many combinations of this are you going to do, really? So I guess this is enough iterations, but I don't know. I just want to see more stuff. I like more stuff. More stuff is always better, in my opinion. Maybe give me a Cassette Dungeons 2 where you got wizards and stuff in there, too. I mean, I guess you have a Rage Mage, so that's close enough, but anyway. All right, I'll start critiquing the game. Ultimately, I'm pretty positive on the game. I do think it fits a pretty specific niche, and if it does fit that one for you, go for it. I do think there's other options out there that could maybe do the same thing. One game that comes to mind is Ragemore. Ragemore is definitely not the same kind of mechanic of rolling dice and stuff, but you do kind of have like a delving, completing missions type deal going on with those cards. And that's a game from Button Shy Games. That game itself has its own issues, and I don't know if I've done a playthrough of that one, but that one has its own issues that I think it kind of falls flat too at certain places. But This game and Rage More, I think, could be good competitors to each other. Maybe try one and see if you like that. If you like it, then you can try the other one. So try Cassette Dungeons, then try Rage More, see which one you like more. Both are pretty small games. Both should be pretty cheap games to go grab. Definitely under $20 for both of them. Maybe under $30 total for the both of them at the same time. And yeah, just go from there. So that has been my review here for this one. Sorry I rambled on more than I thought I was going to ramble on. But ultimately, Cassette Dungeons I think is a reasonable game. I do have some issues with it, I do have some qualms with it, but if you're looking for just kind of a quick little dungeon dive, this I think fits the bill pretty well. So let me know what you all think in the comments on this game, and let me know if you got your own copy, if you want to play it. If you're looking forward to playing it, let me know just all the things. And yeah, if you disagree, let me know in the comments as well. But thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you all enjoyed it, and as always, I will see you all whenever.